If you don't know, these are my friends, Brian and Maureen, and I'm not just saying it, we actually are friends. And they, although they have 4 kids who are fairly older, they have begun the journey of foster care over the last couple of years, and it's been really beautiful. And today we want to ask you to share a story specifically about one of your last placements who you had for quite a while, and then you helped transition her into her new adoptive family. And I imagine that was very bittersweet. So would you share that story of love with us?
Yeah, there's a high probability that I'm going to ugly cry about this. So I'm going to let Brian answer that while I picture you all in your Christmas pajamas.
Totally fair. Brian.
Yeah, and if I start to ugly cry, you're just going to have to take over, Gav. So I would describe this for me as being caught by surprise. And that's because I went into this assuming that I would not grow attached to a newborn that's brought to our house and who I assumed likely would not be with us forever. And yet, slowly, over 8 months, this little girl grabbed my heart. And, you know, she would light up when we would walk into a room or when I would go pick her up downstairs from her kids' class. And she would do this thing when I held her where she would repeatedly grab my face and pull my facial hair and chuckle and smile at me. And it was that type of smile where if she were able to talk and she asked me for a new car, my response probably would have been, do you want an SUV or a sedan, you know? And so when it came time to release her to her forever family, it was, even though it was outside of our control, it felt like I was letting her down as the only dad figure she had known. And for all of us, it felt like we were losing part of our family.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. The next question I want to ask you, and we're going to start with you, so if you want to pass, it's okay. But okay, you're good. All right. Is what did you learn along this way about God's love?
Yeah, I had wanted to foster for years, but along with many of you, I think, have asked the same question. I had a nagging question of, could I love a strange child that came into our home? Could I love her like any other of my own children? And she was brought to us at 10:30 p.m. when she was 6 days old. And it took a little bit of time, but I found the answer to my question. God's love filled my heart for her. And by the time it was time to say goodbye, I loved her as much, I still do, as much as my biological children. We have a new little one now, and the same thing is happening, and it's absolutely amazing. So the question that I had asked for so long, the answer was an astounding yes.
That's good. Thanks, Maureen. Brian?
Yeah, you know, I think for me, another surprise, a little bit strange thing happened. At one point, it looked like we might be presented with a choice for adoption of her. And so we were wrestling with, man, if we have to choose between adopting versus releasing her back into the system, what are we gonna do? And even though we had gone into this fostering journey not planning to adopt, nor do we even think that's the best thing probably for most of the kids that we would have, I found myself for the first time wrestling with this concept of adoption. And a really weird, peculiar thing popped into my mind as I was contemplating this, and it was, okay, if this happens, I'm gonna need to go in immediately to my retirement account and my life insurance account and change the beneficiaries to now be split evenly between 5 kids instead of 4. And there was no concept of us taking her in and her not becoming a fully integrated part of our family. And I think because this was the first time I had wrestled with these things, it helped me understand a little bit better God's love for us in fully adopting and fully accepting us as his sons and daughters.
That's awesome, thank you. It sounds like you all have such a tangible experience with the love of God. So I wonder, what would you say to folks maybe sitting here today who don't have such a tangible experience and are wrestling with, how do you actually feel or know God's love?
Yeah, it's such a good question that I've been pondering. And I first just want to say that one of the ways that we have experienced God's love is through so many of you who are listening to this story who have surrounded us with prayer and support and meals and babysitting on this fostering journey, both with that first girl that we had and now with our new little one. And so if you're in that category, so many of you are, I just want to say thank you. We have really experienced God's love through you. And that brings me to what I want to share about if you're having a hard time just like grabbing a hold of this kind of hard to grasp concept of God's love. We can't see him. I would say that just start with the love that you have in your life right now. Love that you have for someone else, or love that you know someone has for you. And just sit in that, contemplate that. That is, even if it's imperfect, that is God's love. The only reason we have any love in our lives at all is because he is love, and we were created out of love for him. And so start with the love that you know and ask him to thread that to his unfailing love for you.
Yeah, I would say do that.
Yeah, I was going to say, good luck trying to say something after that. All right, good choice. Brian and Maureen are going to light all 4 of our Advent candles, symbolizing the themes of hope, peace, joy, and love. And as they do, would you follow along?